Hello and welcome to another episode of a Playful Escape podcast. My name is Kimberly
Oh, my name is Cindy.
and we are your hosts. Today we are going to be talking about sisters, and I want to put out an advertisement for an older sister.
Are you willing to pay for an older sister?
I am doing it through the podcast, and no, they just have to be willing to be a sister because you don't have to buy your sister's love, just accept it.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
So, should I read out my advertisement?
Yeah. Go for it.
Okay.
Tell me, what do you want?
Okay.
Well, what is the ad you want to put out for the sister?
So, I'm going to title it Older Sister Wanted. Sister wanted. Over 30 years old, either early 30s or late 30s, must have your own place with extra bedroom for me to crash in. Must be willing to cover for me whenever I want to do anything rebellious or mischievous. Must be honest with me. Have to have a good fashion sense so I can flourish and expand my wardrobe. Obviously, you have to be willing to share your clothes. Hopefully, you are around the same size as me. If not, let me borrow your accessories. You have to be a good role model. And hopefully, this is more ideal. You have good advice to give me on life and dating because apparently I am terrible with both.
All right. Problem solved. I found you a sister.
Who?
It's me. I'm not older than 30, sorry, and I don't have my own place, but I fulfilled everything else. Your search is over. Congratulations. I dubbed myself the older sister.
But yeah, so if you haven't figured it out, this episode we're going to be talking about being sisters.
Or yeah. We'll focus on sisters. I was gonna say, or are we gonna talk more about siblings? But I think we're focusing more on sister relationship. So this was brought on because one of our faithful listeners emailed us asking us a question.
Yes.
About basically she was asking what is it like to have a sister? Is a sister-sibling relationship different from a brother-sister relationship? And if so, in what ways? We're not going to fully focus too much on our brother-sibling relationship because I feel like I would really like to one day get our brother on this podcast to talk about it. But we can just say how our relationship is, and we can just very briefly compare it to how our relationship is different with our brother. I forgot what I was saying.
You were talking about how you would like to have our brother be a part of the podcast because our relationship with him is different than our relationship to each other.
Yeah, and even our brother-sister relationship between so if we're looking solely at Kim, her relationship with me is different than our relationship with her relationship with my brother, the same way mine with hers and mine with my brother. So we just have like a little bit of a different relationship. And I think we've brought this up that you and Johnny often, your relationship and stuff solely wraps around food and having to go to the grocery store for different things.
Mm-hmm.
Ours is kind of the same. It's like we go to the grocery store for certain things, and you always want to get food, and if I'm around, I just kind of tag along.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it is different. Like we talk about different. You and I talk a little bit more than like I talk to Johnny. I would like to talk to Johnny more, but sometimes I do, but not as often. And I think that's also something that I would like to point out that is a little different. I know this person that sent us the email, they only have one sibling, and this is another like layer. If we only had Johnny as a sibling or just me and Kim, it's different compared to having two siblings.
Yeah.
So that's briefly what I wanted to bring up.
I was going to straight up and say the person's name.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. I just didn't know if we were going to.
Because they're the first person to send us an email, and she's been listening since the very beginning. So, hi, Zulema.
Hi. Shout out to you. Woo.
For following us from the very beginning and being a part of my brainstorming activity sometimes too.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure you're listening to our podcast as we speak. The one that was released today.
Oh yeah.
Which was, if when you're listening to this, 2 weeks ago.
Yes. So, but she's on top of it. She remembers a lot of information. Sometimes I'll be in a Zoom call with her and some other friends, and someone will ask me a question, and Zulema will say, "Oh, she answered that on the podcast. I remember." She'll blurt out some of the details, which is amazing. So, hi, Zulema. Thank you for supporting us.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it too. Even though you're not my friend, first, I guess.
You're our friend. It's fine.
Yeah. How do we want to start answering this? What is it like having a sister? So as Kim brought up, I'm gonna start, I suppose. In her advertisement, there is that luxury of sharing clothes, but I think I've also brought up in like the last podcast or something how I use anybody's clothes, like my mom's, my dad's, my brother's. It doesn't matter. If it doesn't fit them, if they don't want them, I'll use it. But if you do want more feminine pieces to borrow, yeah, that is it. It is nice to be able to do that. We've just recently started doing that.
I think you have always borrowed, like, gotten all the clothes that I was trying to get rid of because they were kind of feminine, at least after high school, kind of feminine.
Mm-hmm.
And it was easier for you to borrow. But then our high school phase, I think you still borrowed a lot of my clothes, not borrowed, but like took some of the clothes I was getting rid of because we both had a very similar taste at that time too.
Yeah, but the difference is that you couldn't take any of my clothes.
No, I couldn't. I was always bigger in size.
Yeah. And I mean, it makes sense. You're just older, you know. Bodies in different stages of life. But now we're around the same size. And I also buy a lot of oversized clothing as well. So you can very easily borrow things now.
Mm-hmm.
There are probably things that you can't borrow. But yeah, no, for the most part, that's a difference. You can actually share clothes without actually taking it.
Yeah, and we're not like the kind of sisters that we see on TV and movies where it's like, oh, that's my shirt, give that back kind of thing. Because we actually ask each other, like, we respect each other's spaces, fortunately.
Yeah.
And we ask each other for items of clothing or random items to see if we can borrow it for a short period of time. Or if they know exactly where it is, they'll let me know that they took it. And I say they because sometimes Johnny does this, not clothing wise, but like items that I have.
Mm-hmm.
If you know where it is, go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Like we all have our respected things and items. Like yesterday, Kim was asking me if I had activated charcoal, which I do. And if she had known where it was, I would have very, very easily told her. And I could have very easily told her where it was if she wanted to know. But yeah, no, we usually ask before we take things. And like I mentioned earlier before we started this podcast, Kim wants to borrow one of my hats that I've recently purchased. Now she's getting her own, but before then she wanted to borrow my hat. And we have the same size head basically, so it's not even a problem. I don't think hats are very difficult to share.
Yeah.
Amongst siblings. My brother could not probably fit in it though. He's got a bigger head.
Yeah. And I think the good thing about having a sister is, for example, when I want to buy something online or there's like an item of clothing that I want to get, it's easier for me to just send her a screenshot if she's not home or go up to her and show her the item that I want. And they're going to be more brutally honest as far as that is your taste, you're not going to like it. I don't know if you're really going to use it, that kind of thing. And then other times I'm not going to listen to that.
Yeah, that's true. That's actually like a really good point. I've never thought about that, but you do that a lot with me. I don't really do that a lot with you because
You're not picky with clothing like I am.
no, not
Or you are, but differently.
yes. Yes, I am picky with clothing in a different way. Like you said, like material and fabric and how it fits and like if it stretches. And I've gotten it down to a science, I think. And I'm pretty sure you've picked up on this, which is why you've been asking me more about before you purchase things.
Yes.
If I think they would fit you because I do know your dimensions and I do know I have a good idea on certain fabrics, and I've purchased quite a bit of secondhand clothes and stuff, and I know what works, what doesn't. Sometimes there are those little outliers that sounds good in theory, but it could be itchy, you know?
Yeah.
So it's things like that. So if it's expensive, but there's that slight chance that it could be itchy, but if it's from a good company, most likely the material that they used for it is a little better. Possibly. Doesn't mean that it is. So it's like little things like that. So they're good for basically helping you decide on clothes. Basically just fashion.
And it also depends on the relationship that you have with your sibling, because I know
Yeah.
Zulema only has a brother,
Mhm.
and I've observed their relationship. It's an amazing sibling dynamic, and sometimes I just want to include myself into their family and be like, "Hi, Zulema. Hi, Zulema's brother. I am now another sibling." Because it's just interesting. They're really cute.
Mhm.
Again, I don't know all of the details as far
Mhm.
as how that sibling dynamic goes, but the thing is, there's certain conversations that we would have, we meaning Cindy and I would have,
Mhm.
that I probably wouldn't have the same conversations with my brother, because there will be some personal things that I don't want my brother to know. And I need to get it out there. And sometimes I'll just talk to my sister about it. Or if it's a problem that my brother would relate to, I would talk to him, get some feedback, and then tell the story to my sister and get more feedback. So I guess having more siblings helps you vent a little bit more.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. I was gonna say, I feel like you and I have had our fair share of shared experiences. Like we've gone through some things that have happened to both of us, but like in different points in our life. There are things that probably hasn't happened to, like I remember the last quote unquote serious conversation we had. I didn't feel that way, but like I had to kind of calm you down in a way because you were like I guess having like a little bit of an anxiety attack about things. And I don't really think I have anxiety. And if I do, I like kind of push it to the side. But I've noticed that when a lot of my friends act super anxious and nervous and have anxiety, I'm pretty calm. I know I'm pretty positive I don't have anxiety, you know?
Yeah.
And it's stuff like that that I've realized partially that I got from my mom because she kind of dabbles with that stuff at work, helping calm people down, and she's pretty good at it. It's just, although I'm not older, I am a pretty good listener, I'd like to say. And because I'm a pretty good listener, I've listened to multiple people talk about their life experiences, which helps me make good decisions rather than wrong decisions. So when she wanted to talk to me about life and her decisions and whatever, I have a good input from other people as to how things could go. Or I could be like Simon, for example, who could not care at all and be like, you know what? Who cares what people think? Who cares what anyone says about you? Or who cares? Which is nice in theory, but it's also respectful to consider people.
Hmm.
Obviously, you would care what I think of you just because I'm your sister.
Yeah.
You would care what mom and dad think of you because they're your parents. So it's more like respectful to think of the people that matter most rather than people that don't matter. But then that could also be difficult because when the people that are closest to you say things to you like, "Oh, that looks bad." It affects you more because you're like, "Oh, that's probably true then because they told me." I was like, "But I like this," or "But I want this to look good on me." So, that's a little touchy subject that you can that I've noticed with multiple people. It's like the people you want to be closest to you and accept you for who you are can sometimes be the most honest with you, which could also be hurtful.
Yeah.
But I would always say it's like unintentional. Although something looks horrible on you, I think you can still wear it around the family because we'll still accept you. We're not going to make you change because that looks bad on you. It's just like, oh, don't wear that in public because it doesn't look good out, you know?
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because I'm taking an ethics class, and it reminds me that my professor said when you're like employed in a company, they always like worry about your ethics because you don't want to make them look bad. And he used the example like, oh, your parents always say this to you. It's like, don't make me look bad, you know? And I was thinking, and I was like, that's probably why people do it. Like, they're harsh to their family members. Is like, oh, I don't want people to see you like that because you're going to make me look bad. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. And it's kind of harder in that case, and it's more upsetting for sure.
Yeah, but like I said, I don't think it's intentional typically. Not for me at least. And I don't usually tell people like, "Oh, that looks bad on you." I would do it differently. And I've been teaching Simon how to do this cuz before he used to tell me when he was younger and his sisters would ask him for advice like, "Oh, how does this look on me?" He would be brutally honest. And so when he would do that with me, I was like, "No, that's not how you talk to me." I was like, "The way you talk to me, you're like, it looks okay, but I think this would look better." So it's more of like a redirection. It's like, "It's fine. I don't want to say it looks horrible on you, but this is better. Like, here's an alternative. This would look great on you, you know?" So that's kind of what I do. It's like a redirection of like, I don't like that one on you, but this one would look great on you, you know?
I think it's a really good thing to bring up. Like you were saying, Simon, he
Mhm.
has two older sisters,
Yeah.
and there's an age difference there, and their relationship is going to be completely different than the relationship you and I have,
Yeah.
either because of the age difference or the upbringing, or even like the type of love that our parents give us. Either it's equally or not.
Mhm. Yeah.
We can't exactly give an answer. I mean, we're going to answer the questions that Zlima sent us.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like we have been. Obviously, for us, our relationship with our brother compared to our relationship with each other is different. Yes. I personally do not like share a lot with my brother. Not because I don't want to, but because he's typically not interested. You know what I mean? He's that type of person that like unless I'm crying and literally like broken down, he's not gonna bother me asking me, "Hey, how's your day? How have you been?" He's just gonna be like, "She's good, I'm good, we're good," you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, like there's been times where I could be crying one day and he's like, "What's wrong?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I just had a fight with like mom or dad or something." And this hasn't happened before. And I don't know if I've ever mentioned this in the podcast, but where Johnny literally would go to like mom or dad and he's like, "You really like broke Cindy or something because she's not okay." He's like, "You should go talk to her." And I remember when he did this, I was like, "Oh my God, Johnny." I was like, this is so it felt so weird because I always think of him as like, "Oh, he's my younger brother, you know? He's just my little brother." It's like to me, it's like we always think it's like, "Oh, you should always protect your younger sibling." And don't get me wrong, I also feel like protective of Kim, but like in a different way. But yeah, and then I remember when he did that, I was like, I felt like for a moment I traded roles and I became like a younger sibling where it's like, oh no, no, protect younger sibling. So I thought that was funny.
That has happened to me a couple of times too, where I'm just chilling here in my bed, laying down,
Hmm.
and he'll come to go change, get out of his work clothes or something like that, or get something from the room.
Hmm.
Apparently, it's weird for me just to be laying down in bed with like nothing to do besides watching something on my phone. And he's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Nothing." It's like, "Everything okay?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I think I was in a relationship at the time when he
Hmm.
asked me this. And he's like, "How's your relationship going?" Not like that exactly, but I'm summarizing it.
Yeah.
And And he's like, don't think that he is the one. There's always going to be someone out there that's going to be better for you. Like, you can tell that, like, he was giving me all this stuff. And I was like, you're making me question my relationship. You know that, right?
That's too
I was like,
funny.
where did you get all of this knowledge from?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know if he brought up our brother's in a relationship too. And he's been in his relationship for a while now.
But again, our brother doesn't share too much with us either. So
No.
we don't open up to him. And if he doesn't open us up to us,
Well, I would say that before he had a car and we had to like pick him up from like the bus, because he would take the bus to and from work and get dropped off close enough to where we could pick him up if it was raining or if it was too hot. If we actually had time, we would pick him up rather than having him take a different bus to get closer to home. When I would pick him up, even if it was from school too, that's when he would talk to me a little bit more. But like I said, it was nothing too deep. I'd like to think we typically don't have problems we need to address, you know? But one time he did tell me, he's like, yeah, like when he wasn't feeling good or like when he wasn't in like in the best of terms in a relationship or something like that. He's like, oh, I just feel like we're distant or something.
yeah, I've had moments like that too.
Yeah. And I was like, well, then do something about it, you know? And he's like, yeah, I want to. He's like, but it's kind of hard. So then I would like, I know his frustrations sometimes in his relationship, in the past frustrations. I don't think they're too much of a hassle anymore now. But yeah, stuff like that. So it's kind of hard. So the things I feel like I talk about with Johnny is typically surface level, sometimes relationships, but nothing too deep, like I said. And then I guess kind of social media. We have like
We have a sibling chat.
oh yeah, we do. But we have an overlap of like our interests. So like we like all the same movies. I don't play video games, but I like watching people play video games like on YouTube. And he's like a gamer through and through kind of. So and he watches that kind of content. So that's like our overlap. He also I think watches a little bit of anime and like a lot of comedians and stuff. And I don't watch those things, but when he has them playing when him and his girlfriend used to like watch TV or watch YouTube together, I would watch it and I was like, this is pretty entertaining. So it's things like that that we would just have a common ground on, jokes and stuff. But yeah, no, for the most part, that's kind of what our relationship is. Like we could have a good connection. Like we could sit down and watch the same movie, no problems.
We can have days literally sitting on a different couch. There will be times, Cindy, you leave sometimes, or sometimes you're
Yeah.
here, and our parents always say, "You guys don't hang out.
I
You
was
guys are
gonna
not
bring that up.
talking," and we're like, "We don't need to talk. We just hang out, and we're fine." Because sometimes we have the conversations on a car drive, or in private in the room, or we eat together or something like that, and we'll have those moments, and our parents are like, no, but we need to see you guys bonding. We're bonding just by sitting together. We don't need to do anything.
Yeah, no, I think it's dad who the one who's always like, "You guys don't get along," or it's like, "You guys are always arguing when you're talking." And the funny thing is, yeah, like we bicker, but it's never bad. And the funny thing is recently, I think probably right before we started creating this podcast, our dad wasn't home, but our brother got home before he did, and we all got food together and we were all just eating together at the table, and we were just kind of talking or just like just eating together in silence with a little bit of conversation in between. And then I brought up like, dad always says that we don't sit down and eat together or like actually spend time together. I was like, they just don't have to be around and we do it. We're totally fine. We're chilling. And and
Yeah,
and Johnny was like, "Yeah." He's like, "That's what's wrong. It's like they're just around." That's why we don't sit down and eat together or talk to each other. But yeah, no, we were totally fine. We were just I don't remember what we got. We probably got like pizza or something. I don't know.
I think it was Norm's.
Oh
I
yeah,
think it was
like
a
all the
breakfast
time
food.
too. Yeah. But that was more
A-
recent.
his girlfriend was there, so she was there with us.
That
We
was
were
more
all just
recent, yeah.
sitting together. I'm pretty sure it was like
No, it was a different day. I was thinking of a different day. But like,
oh,
yeah, that was the same thing where we all ate together too. But yeah, that was really funny too. What else did you want to bring up?
well, we were talking about sisters, and
And we brought up how our relationship is a little different with Johnny.
yeah, and I think the sibling relationship's going to be different. In this case, we're going to focus more on the sister one,
Mm-hmm.
where I know, like, you and I are sisters.
What?
I know we have some
I
other
thought it was
family
adopted.
members.
Okay,
Even
what?
if you are adopted, you are my sister.
No, I'm not adopted. Promise.
Oh, that brings up a really, really funny situation.
No, another time. Okay. Even if what?
Even if there's other family members that have like sibling relationships, like their
Right.
dynamic might be completely different. So we know we both have a bunch of aunts. My dad is the youngest of like 10 siblings, and of those 10 siblings, he only has 2 brothers. So the other had well, 3 brothers technically.
Yeah.
So the other 6 people in the family were women, and the relationship there, I can't speak for their relationship, but from what I hear, sometimes it sounds like sisters tend to be mean to each other. And I don't know, are we mean to each other?
No, I don't think so, to be honest. I mean, like, I feel like sometimes I like I don't want to say talk down, but like, or even bully, but like, you know, how like I make comments on things that like, oh, it's like, you used to be so cute in this picture when we were little. And it's like, what happened? You know, comments like that.
Yeah.
Those I guess quote unquote can be mean, but like they're never intentional, you know what I mean?
They're joking.
Yeah. Or like when we talk about, it's like, oh, he's the cutest one. And I was like, oh, it's me. I was like, oh, unless we're talking about boys, then it's Johnny. You know, it's like Johnny's the cutest. It was like, or it's just amongst all of us. I was like, no, it's still me. I was like, then Johnny, then Kim. So it's like those little disses here and there, but like
Yes.
never intentionally like meant to be like, oh no, she's the ugliest with all of us. No, it's not like that.
And you know what's funny? You weren't here for one of those sibling banters. Johnny and I had something similar like that. I was getting food, or getting, meaning I actually eating at home, warming food up. And Johnny had made a comment, and I responded to the comment because obviously sibling mode got triggered, and it's like, okay, I have to respond. It has to be a wisecrack. We have a bunch of these wisecrack moments.
Yeah, well, but I think I would like to say I think that's from our parents because they have them too.
Yes.
And they're always like, why are you guys like that? And it's like when we look at their relationship or their dynamic, or even with us, with each other, it doesn't matter. They have them too. Which is why we have them. Both of them have the wisecracks.
It's funny though, because we only have it at home, and I know that there's some family members who continue those wisecracks outside of their home, like in public or with other people.
Right. Yeah, no. We don't like, if we're dissing each other, we're not gonna do it in front of everybody. You know?
Yes.
It's more respectful. I think we tend to be more respectful in front of other people with each other.
Yes, on that note, my dad heard the comment, and it wasn't, again, it was like a diss. It's like, oh, I think there was a TikTok that came out. I don't know if Johnny has showed this to you. A TikTok where it shows how guys look down at girls that they're dating because they're tall. And he's like, this is what you look like to me. He showed me the video, and the angle is so terrible. And the girl in the video is like crying because she's like, oh my gosh, I'm ugly. Why are you dating me? Like, I look disgusting. And he showed it to me. So then I like took it. I thought about it, and I was like, ew, that's such a weird angle. And so he had brought that up, I think that same day or like a couple days later. And Dad got very upset because he's like, you shouldn't be calling your sister ugly. But I had that already in my head, and I was just like, it's just because you're too tall. That's why. If you were down at my level, like, you're fine. And
it's like, this is just an ugly angle of me. The top down view.
It's like, you shouldn't be talking to each other that way. It's like, we're not going to do it like this in public. We're just doing it in our own home. He's like, yeah, but what if it goes into the, like outside the home and someone else hears this? Like, it's not going to do that. Like, we have this trigger, this light switch. It's like, okay, at home, this light switch is on. We can joke around and diss each other, whatever. We know it's not serious. It's lighthearted and everything. But the moment like we go outside and lock the door, that trigger automatically goes down, and it's like, no, respectfulness.
Yeah, yeah, no, we're not usually like that in public. It's usually like when we're at home that we're like that. Yeah, yeah, for the most part, I'd like to agree. All right, what's the next topic? Can I go to my topic, or do you want to cover something else?
I just wanted to double check to see if we addressed everything in Zuleima's question.
She also talks about like how we used to resolve sibling issues or sibling conflicts.
I don't know.
Oh, well, I mean, I can answer this, I guess. So, the specific example here is actually the only example I can actually think of where we would actually disagree. For the most part, everything else we agree. We used to watch the same TV shows when we were younger. We used to, I don't know, for the most part, we never had issues, you know?
Mm-mm.
The only things we disagreed on is, yeah, where we would want to eat. So this one is, how would you resolve non-essential conflicts between siblings? In this specific example, she said, if your parents are offering to take you out to eat at one place and only one place, Kim really wants In-N-Out, Johnny really wants McDonald's, Cindy really wants to eat at home, how would you decide what to eat? Rock, paper, scissors, older sibling decides, was there a system? Similarly, now that you are all older, is there anything that you guys have trouble agreeing on, such as things to do, go eat, or watch TV? I kind of already answered that. We don't really typically disagree on things to watch. We usually like the same things.
I think in the matter of that, it's just whoever had the control first, and we'll just
Yeah,
let it go.
yeah. That's a good point. It's whoever got into that room or location first. And typically, if not, we would ask each other, hey, can I watch TV or can I change the channel?
Yeah. And it's usually if we're really in the mood of watching something else. But now we're living in the world of streaming where it's just easy for us to pause what we're watching and go to something else.
That is true.
When we were younger, though, we always had a different conversation. Because, for example, I was in high school.
Mhm.
Say I was in freshman, sophomore, or junior year of high school. You were somewhere in middle school, and
Mhm.
Johnny was in elementary school.
But we still watch the same TV.
Yes, but if I wanted to watch something that wasn't suitable for you guys because mom and dad didn't want you guys to watch it, I had to give up whatever I wanted to watch for you guys to do it. And this was when we had like programming TV, we had satellite or cable or something like that.
Right.
Usually at that point, we had to give up whatever we wanted to be interested in watching to make sure that everyone else enjoyed it or do something else completely different, which is, I think, why we also have such a strong bond.
Yeah. For example, like TV shows, we all watched SpongeBob. We all know
Mhm.
SpongeBob. Cartoon Network we used to watch. So like Ed, and Eddie, I remember.
I wasn't a big fan of those shows.
I
I
wasn't a
watched it
big
just
fan
because
of
of
it
you
either,
guys.
but I watched a lot of it, I think.
Yeah.
And I remember watching a lot of Cartoon Network and stuff like that. And I guess I have that relationship with Johnny where Johnny and I used to watch Cartoon Network together a lot. But for the most part, we watched like Nickelodeon a lot.
Nickelodeon and Disney.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think another thing that we had to figure it
Oh,
out
but
is like,
also when Johnny was little, he liked like Spider-Man.
mhm.
And we never had a problem watching that or like superhero stuff like that. We didn't care. Um
I think we
oh,
just focused on something else when we did that.
I remember we bought Johnny that like a Buzz Lightyear movie. That was really cool to watch. Even though I think we were older, like it didn't really matter. It was entertaining. It was cool.
I think one of the things about growing up is just you're supposed to follow the trends that your age group is following, and I faked following them.
Oh.
And I just stayed with the trends that you guys were watching because of your interest as an older sibling. Because I know that there was a lot of people like, oh, we're watching MTV on Saturday morning to listen to the top 10, and we watched cartoons.
Oh, that's so true. I totally forgot about that. I started doing that maybe around high school time, but like I didn't care for it all that much. Like I liked listening to the music while I got ready or something, but afterwards I was like, okay, done. Change the channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, but used to it. Hey, but all those people, I feel like oh no, maybe not. I was gonna say all those fakers. I was like, there's a bunch of people that are so into Yu-Gi-Oh and all those other shows that we used to watch when we were those Saturday morning shows, Pokemon. I was like, there's a bunch of people in our age range that like used to watch that, and I'm pretty sure even in your age range, they're like little fans of it.
Yeah, I think it was just harder to find those other people because the internet wasn't very common. Now it's easier to find that kind of community.
Yeah, you're right, but I feel like there was still like outliers, and just because you were like, oh, if you had been like, oh, I don't watch that because
I have younger siblings.
my siblings watch cartoons in the morning. You know what I mean? So it was like, eh, I don't know. I'm different. Like I feel like I could care less what the trends currently are. Although I probably followed them and I probably still continue to follow them, but I unless I actually like it, I'm not going to stick to it. You know, that's what I think. But yeah, like going back to the question, when we would have differences of what we wanted to eat, my mom would kind of just settle our differences. So she'd be like, "Oh, both Kim and Johnny agreed on, say, McDonald's. We're getting McDonald's this time. Cindy, next time you can choose because next time you're going to want something different."
We did that a couple of times. They also done, well, you're the one that's hungry. What do you want, to our dad? Because he was like, I'm hungry. Let's go eat.
Mm.
And he was the one driving. It's not like we can tell him, oh, yeah, we want Tommy's or we want Olive Garden. He would be the one driving us and paying for it. So we also, I think we were kind of polite and let them choose, even though we hated some of the food. They would take us to seafood
I
places.
was talking about more specifically like when mom would pick us up from school and we
Oh,
would
okay.
want to go, it was just us three, not dad included, because obviously if dad is there, we're gonna eat whatever he wants, or unless he doesn't really care what he wants, he asks mom what she wants.
Okay.
I was just isolating the situation to just us three. And what mom used to do is be like, oh, both Kim and Johnny want a burger. We're going to McDonald's, stuff like that.
At the same time, though, at that time, we only went to 2
We were
places.
also limited to what was in our path.
Yes.
She couldn't go out of stray away from the path. So we already knew just based on driving around what was around our where we were going. So we knew there was like a McDonald's, Jack in the Box. I think that's all
I
I can
think
remember at the
yeah,
moment.
I was gonna say, I think those are the only 2 that were on the path. So we either got Jack in the Box, we got tacos from Jack in the Box, or we went to McDonald's, and if we went to McDonald's, we got the dollar value cheeseburgers, the Big Macs, or chicken nuggets.
Maybe we even had offered Carl's Jr. because I remember like sometimes
Oh,
getting
yeah, yeah.
food from Carl's Jr.
I guess it depends at what stages.
Yeah, but for the most part, yeah, we didn't have too much problem. It was kind of like, oh, today we'll get this. Next time you can pick. So it was kind of like resolved by it's like, okay, you didn't get what you wanted this time, but next time you will. You know. So it was
We
kind of
didn't eat
just a shift.
Yeah, and we didn't eat out often growing
No,
up.
it
My
was like maybe
mom
like
always
once a week or something.
yeah. So it was kinda easier to say, "Well, no, last week it was Cindy's turn, now it's my turn." Or another thing that we would do is based on, like, an award system, like, say we got recognized at
That's
school for
right.
something.
We would get like coupons. We used to get a free burger from In and Out,
If you
and
filled out the reading logs.
yeah, or like you did exceptionally well, you get like this little certificate, which was also another free burger from a different place.
Yeah.
Um, so like that, just like free meals or free beverage or something. So it was like little. I think it was cool though. I always looked forward to that free In-N-Out burger. Are you kidding me? Those are good.
Yeah. And the only exception to that is just like, I guess, birthdays. That if something fell on our birthday, then we
Mhm.
obviously we would choose, because, or if it wasn't on our birthday but like closer to our birthday, and they would say, "Oh, this is your birthday meal." That's how we would figure it out.
Yeah, no, we don't usually have trouble deciding on who's gonna decide where we go.
I think now,
It's on the pickiest eater.
which is Cindy.
Yeah.
So if I'm hungry and I want food, I will find something to eat from any of the places listed.
Mm-hmm.
But knowing that Cindy's picky, she doesn't like certain restaurants, or she doesn't like certain foods from certain restaurants.
Or I'm just not in the mood for certain foods.
Or, yeah, if you're not in the mood, or if you just had eaten.
We still need to get Tommy's.
Yes.
When
Yes,
does
we
Johnny
do.
get home? 'Cause I'm
Closer to
hungry.
6.
Aw.
So tomorrow, we're going to have to do it tomorrow.
Okay. Bye.
I can go for some Sharkies.
I don't want turkeys.
See, I'm hungry. What do you want to eat then? Let's resolve it right here on the podcast.
No, not right now. We'll talk after. But I do want to get to my stuff. Are we done with us?
Okay.
I don't want to just
Yes.
push this aside. It's just I feel like this is going to be a little entertaining too.
Go ahead.
Okay. So you have no idea what this is, but
No.
I thought of this last night, probably like at 12, while I was like just on my phone listening to my scary stories. I thought of superlatives.
Oh, no.
So I picked out superlatives where we're going to basically be like, oh, most likely to fall off their bike. And we're going to say, I know this is going to be a little bit of an issue because this is a podcast. We can't be like answering at the same time because then we can't hear each other. But I do want to give an explanation as to who we think is more likely to do this thing and explain it. So
Okay.
I just came up with who fell off their bike, who was most likely to fall off their bike. But I do want to answer this. I think it would be me because I'm clumsy.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm just clumsy. Also, I actually fell while on skates, but that was because of our dog. She wrapped around me and just went for it, and I just went waka to the back, and I fell.
Yes, you are clumsy.
Although I will say, I don't think I would fall off of a bike. I am clumsy, but yeah, I don't think I'd fall off a bike. But the funny thing is, one of these questions is actually, who is the most accident prone?
You.
Yeah, me.
Do I have to answer it? If you want an answer to this, listen to episode 2 of our podcast.
Yeah. I mean, between the both of us, yeah, I believe I am more accident prone. I don't know. Yeah, that one doesn't need explanation. I put some of these in here just to like be like, oh, revisit this, or like you guys should already know as well, probably. The next one I'm going to ask is, who is most likely to be late for class?
What time is the class?
It doesn't matter. It's just who's more likely to be late to class. I can answer this. What I think. I don't, because it looks like you're thinking. So I'm gonna say, I think Kim is most likely to be late for class.
How come?
We've stated in a previous podcast how we've in the past both used to be late for class when we were younger, depending on other people. But now that we drive on our own, it's on our own time. I'm early places. I don't like to be late. And Kim is like me for the most part. She gets to places early, but I feel like she gets distracted. So I feel like she could be in a different place instead of in class, which is why she could end up being late to class.
I was gonna say, I think taking into consideration how much time it takes me to get ready and how early or late this class is, if I slept in or not, I would say I would probably be late. Like, I'm most likely to be late to class. But like you said, I tend to be early because of the past situations that I avoided. But you are also right. I do get distracted. Like, if I'm on my way to class and I see someone and I'm talking to them, and then I'll look at the time and I'm like, oh shoot, I have 5 minutes to get to class. I'll walk to the class with purpose, and I'll wave down some people and be like, hey, hi, how are you doing? And I'm like, I'm running late to class, and I'll still get to class on time. I don't think I have walked into class late. If I have, it's because I had issues with an elevator. And when I was teaching, I did have issues with an elevator that I had to,
That's funny.
I did walk into the class late, but I went to make copies, went down to the elevator, and it stopped at every floor.
Oh, I see.
And I was just upset. And I walked in and I'm like, sorry, I'm late, guys. I have to breathe. Here is your assignment, or turn in your assignment while I catch my breath. I was brutally honest in that way. I'm like, I have to breathe.
Yeah, I, like you, had to was studying at the library, and I would look at the time. I had 5 minutes left, and then I would speed walk to class. So there's things like that, but usually I don't really panic in those situations because I within like the first 5 minutes, not a lot of information is expressed right away in class. So if it's something like that, I'm not too worried about it. But if I were driving home, no, sorry, if I were driving from home to class late, that's when I'd be freaking out, you know? But like walking, I don't freak out. That's not too much of a situation. But this leads me to my next question. You said you take longer to get ready. One of my questions was, who takes longest to get ready? I agree. It's you.
Yeah. It's because my hair is harder to maintain. It has more knots. My face does not look the way it is right now. I like to put on
What?
eyeliner. I like to look a certain way before I walk out the door. And usually I go through a mental checklist. It's like, did I put on my eyeliner? Yes. Did I curl my eyelashes and put on mascara? Yes or no. Do I want to? Yes or no. Do I have a sweater? I have this checklist in my head that if I don't check everything off, then I go back and start over and create that checklist again before I go out the door, which is why sometimes I get take forever to get ready. Or now working remotely, I have more time to get ready. So I'll log in, look like a mess, but I don't have to turn on my camera. And then 10, 20, 30 minutes into my shift, I'll be like, hey, I'll be right back. And I'll go comb my hair and then I'll come back or something like that.
So adding to this, I'm gonna add one more to this. So basically I was gonna ask, who takes the longest? Sorry. Yeah, who takes the longest to get out of bed?
That would be me.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Or because I was gonna phrase it, who takes the longest to get out of bed, or who takes longer to wake up, which would also be you.
That would be me because I want to sleep as long as possible. Only because I have issues going to sleep and falling asleep. And the moment I'm asleep, I want to stay asleep for as long as I can.
I would also like to add, she's the one that has like 10 alarms in the morning that she just keeps snoozing and just wakes everybody else up.
Yeah, I need to come up with a better system.
Yeah. Who is most likely to talk your ear off?
Both of us.
That's hard. Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like we both have that personality where we can each talk a lot. Lately, you've been saying how I do a lot of the talking in the podcast.
Yes.
But I do think in reality, you talk a lot too.
So that's why I said both of us.
Yeah.
But I will say there have been some situations where I'm like, I'm getting ready to go use the restroom, to go take a shower. You come home and you start talking my ear off, and I'm like, clothes in hand. I was gonna go take a shower.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, I have to go eat. I'm hungry. I'm like, cool. I'm gonna go take a shower. And you're like, you're not gonna join me? And I was like, wait, I wanted to go take a shower. It's like, but I want some company. And I was like, eat your food. I'll join you after because I know how long she takes to eat.
Also, yeah, I take a long time to eat. Yeah, that's a good point.
So I will finish my shower and she will still be eating her very, very soggy cereal.
Hey, my cereal's delicious, okay? Okay, next question or next superlative. Who's the most organized?
I want to say you.
Yes.
But
I have another question. So I was gonna say I think I am more organized in certain aspects. I know I have a mess, which is why I added this question. Where is it? I lost the question. I might have checked it off. I think it was basically who's the messiest.
Johnny.
Well, between both of us. Yeah, not including Johnny, it would be probably Johnny. But the funny thing is I feel like that's an oxymoron. It's like I'm the most organized, but I feel like I'm also the messiest of
Yes, you are.
between the both of us.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, so I'm the messiest because if I can't have things the way I organize them, sometimes I don't put them away. So like I have sweaters and jackets and stuff that stack up that I was going to wear or that I did wear, but I just didn't put away on the hanger, that they stack up. So that means I'm the messiest, but I also constantly put them away, which is why I can be the most organized.
Yep. Any more?
Yes. Who is the most creative?
Both of us.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe in the past I would have said me because I used to
Mhm,
be the craftiest, but lately you've been picking up a lot of crafty hobbies.
mhm.
So I would say that's probably true. I think we're probably both equally equivalent of creative and crafty, if you will.
I think our version of creating
Is different.
crafty is very different. It's like
Yeah.
for me, I'm more paper crafts, while for
Mhm.
you, it's more outside of that, like actual physical ingredients and chem lab is kind of person.
No, not even that. I mean, like I used to do like drawings and stuff like that. I did origami, I made jewelry. I physically did things. And like you said, I've done like I've created like certain things, not chemically, but yeah. And that's all like really fun.
I
But
think.
creative wise for you, you've made journals.
Mhm.
So and you've picked up hobbies like that where you're just you're also I think you did you do creative writing or you just like writing? You used to do creative writing. When you were younger, you used to
Yeah.
do like fan fictions and stuff like that.
Don't throw me under the bus.
It's okay. People don't know. They used to do fan fictions.
I used to be creative in the paper sense, like writing,
Mhm.
storytelling, books, a scrapbook, things that are already made
Mhm. And
and I
putting
can
them
add to
together.
it. But I'm also creative in like the technology sense. Like I would
That's true.
go out of my way to edit a video or try learn how to edit a video. I would go out of my way to Photoshop.
Mhm.
And when MySpace was around, I would go out of my way to create my own background photo. I wouldn't code it, but
Mhm.
I would create my own background and learn the dimensions. So if I had technology and paper, I'm good.
Yeah, that's so funny. I miss MySpace for that reason. I remember how we used to like copy and paste the codes to get certain backgrounds and stuff like that. I always thought that was cool. Now that I think back, I wish I had paid attention to that because I would have been like, wow, those codings, they actually provided it to you and everything. That's
Mhm.
super cool.
I'm pretty sure you can find them somewhere online.
Yeah, I know, but it's like not a thing that people do anymore. But I thought that was so cool. It's like a good
Yeah,
idea. Let's see. Most likely to mispronounce words.
me.
I agree. Although you're the English major, I would say like I mispronounce words clearly as well. But sometimes you like mispronounce words that you know how to pronounce, but for whatever reason, you're just having like an off day and you just can't pronounce anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's funny though. I think it's funny. Um,
I think so too. It's hilarious with my coworkers. I will mispronounce something that is so I know how to pronounce it. I've said it before and I try to say it, but the more I say it, the more terrible it gets. And they'll laugh about it. It's like says the English major. And I was like, yes, I know. I
yeah,
know. But we have those days.
yeah.
Or I think
Um,
sometimes my brain is just running faster than my mouth can keep up with. And
mhm.
that's where I get tongue tied.
Yeah, that happens to me too. Okay. Next question. Who is most likely to be a comedian?
Maybe Cindy.
I asked that more as a way to be like, who's the funniest, I guess?
Cindy. Just because your face, you make certain
My
facial
face.
features.
You just look funny.
Your face, like the facial
Do you
features.
do you see what I'm saying? She's mean to me. She's giving me disses. You just look funny.
I'm dying. No, but you make certain things your facial features, I don't know, like you raise your eyebrows in a certain way and you come up with like some of these really interesting facial features that I just look at you and I just laugh, and it's just easy for that to happen. I don't think I'm funny. I can't think of any
I
funny
mean, there are
situations.
funny situations. It's just, yeah, you're not making people laugh just to make people laugh often. I do it a lot. I would say I do it when if I say, okay, you know how like people have this thing with their siblings, like if you hurt your sibling and they're gonna cry to your parents, like and say, "Oh, so and so hit me just now." So whenever that would happen, like if I accidentally made Johnny cry, if I took something away from him, or if I said something that hurt his feelings, or whatever, it could be anything. If I like got him upset and I didn't want him to be like, "Oh, I'm gonna tell mom," I would do the opposite. So I would cheer him up, make him happy, make him laugh, and then it would pass. So I think things like that is why I personally do that. Like if I made Simon mad, I do it with Simon as well. If I made Simon mad, I have to cheer him up. I'm not going to make him laugh right away, but I have to bring up situations like, "Oh, you remember when we did this?" It's like, we were happy then, right? And so like shifting his mood a little bit. So I do things like that, which is why I think I am constantly doing little things to make people laugh. And the funny thing is, I didn't think about it, but another one of my superlatives is who is most likely to brighten up people's days. And I feel like that kind of coincides with that. So I would say maybe me. I don't know if you have a different
Yeah,
opinion.
I agree. I can occasionally brighten up someone's day, but again, it depends on my mood. My emotions and my bubbliness always
Mhm.
depends on my mood, and it's harder
Mhm.
for me to be like that. So for you, you're just naturally like, I'm gonna be as bubbly as I can be just because they're upset. So that's how you can brighten
Mhm.
up someone's day, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Okay. Next one. I'm going to bring this one up because you brought it up. Who's most likely to have the most upbeat attitude?
You. All of these are
No,
focused
they're
on
not.
you.
Who is most likely to be gullible? I think that's Kim.
I
I
don't
think
think
you're the
so.
most gullible.
How?
Okay, so you sometimes don't have a backbone. So even if you disagree with people, you're not gonna say it. I feel like you can very easily get talked into like an accidental cult. Someone would be like, "Hey, we have this really cool group that we all like share the same passion, and we're always just." One way all the time. And you're like, wow, that's super cool. And you're going to be totally oblivious to the fact that it could be a cult. And you just be like, no, but I like what they're selling. you know?
uh, I don't think so, but
I,
uh,
let me give you an example.
I would take it into
Let me give you an
consideration.
example. Um, that one time we went to the thrift store and this guy was like, "Oh, do you see that thing? Oh, that's so cool. You know what you could use this for?" And he asked, so it was one of those things that are like behind the glass shelf that
I remember this one. I'm like,
and
what?
you got stuck with this guy and he grabbed your arm and he was rolling this thing and I was like, "What are you?" I just went to go check out and purchase some things and you were just I was like, what just happened?" It was like I didn't even leave you. You were like within eyesight, and I was like, "No, you have to be like right next to me." It's like that's why I'm like, I feel like you could be the most gullible. That is the reason why you're just most likely to get trapped
Yeah.
into something. I suppose.
Okay. In that sense, yes, but
I don't know.
gullible,
I
no.
still think you'd be pretty
Uh,
gullible. I don't know. I mean, this is my opinion. Do you think I am more gullible than you?
no.
Okay, so
You question everything, but still,
but in
I
the
wanted
sense
to.
of between you and I, you would think you are more gullible than me because you don't think I'm gullible.
You're not. You're just not easily talked into something. You overanalyze everything. I'm just like, okay.
More gullible.
uh,
Okay, let's stick to our next one. Who is most likely to annoy our brother?
me.
You remember how you said all these superlatives were focused on me? No, these are yours.
I think we have time for 2 more.
Aw, but
We're gonna have to revisit this. Save. We can add more. We can come up with some more in the future. If anyone listening wants to ask some of these, most likely to do.
but I have 3 more that I have to ask.
Okay, fine. Ask the 3.
Who is more likely to cry over spilled milk?
Me.
Kim.
I cry over everything.
Yeah. She's most likely to like it spilled. This is like more of an expression of like who's most likely to cry over the littlest thing, basically,
Me.
is what I'm trying to say. And yeah,
I almost cried earlier during the recording.
okay, well, let's not go there. Who is most likely to talk to a stranger?
Me.
I already gave the example that I could have used. So yeah, it's Kim. Who is most likely to get in a van when offered candy?
Don't look at me. I know your answer is gonna say me.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I have a couple more if you'd like. If we want to just answer quick, we can answer
Fine.
them. Who is the most opinionated?
Cindy.
Okay, I agree. I think that's me. Who is most likely to rebel?
Me.
I don't know. I feel like that's hard, but I'm gonna say Kim for now, and then I'm gonna top it off with who is most likely to lie to our parents?
Probably me.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have a pretty good relationship with our parents. I usually tell them everything. So yeah, and that's why I think I would answer Kim for most likely to rebel because she'd be most likely to lie to her parents, which is just, rebelling in a way. Okay, this one this is the last one I'm gonna say, and this one's gonna take a little bit of time. If your life was a movie or TV show, whose life would be more entertaining?
Between you and me?
Yeah, between you and me.
You, because of all the accidents you had to encounter.
Okay. But not even that. I feel like just in general, our life, like, you know how we have our conversations? Sometimes it's like, oh, sometimes I wish we were recording this because that was so funny.
Yeah.
So there are moments that where we think about it, it's like if we had our own TV show or our own movie, just watching this happen, this would be entertaining. And I feel like that those moments usually happen to me. So I would say my life, my movie would be more entertaining. I think. I don't know. It's not.
I think that's a valid point, but I think it's also based on the personality that you have. You're more extroverted.
Maybe.
And it's easier to have those kind of funny situations while I'm more introverted and I'm more reserved into myself in that kind of case. So I don't have those kind of encounters, which is why I think it would be interesting to have a movie or follow your life because as an introvert, I can try to learn from it.
I suppose. So you're saying my movie would be better to be made just because it'd be more entertaining and would lead to more life lessons?
It would be more of a teaching experience. A teaching experience for the introvert.
But yeah, those were some superlatives that I ended up looking up, others that I just made up.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to pronounce that word today.
Superlatives?
Yeah. I tried like 3 times and I butchered all 3.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was my fun little my excerpt that I wanted to include to today's video.
Yeah, I think we had a lot of fun with this episode.
Yeah, this wasn't bad. And I feel bad that it may have seemed like I was rushing the section where we were talking about siblings, but we were talking a lot.
Yeah, it's going to be one of our longer episodes, probably.
Sorry.
Don't worry, we're going to talk about siblings again. We're not leaving this topic. It's just, that's just who we are. We're sisters, and we're going to talk about that.
That's just the way it is.
Things will never be the same.
What song is that? I don't even remember what it's called.
I don't remember.
Okay.
I'll look it up later.
That's fine. Okay.
All right.
Adios, podcast.
Thank you all so much for listening to.
I didn't do anything. Thank you all so much for listening to our podcast. Oh my god, we both can't talk.
It's hard, isn't it? I was getting ready. I just needed to breathe.
Thank you all so much for listening to a Playful Escape podcast.
Make sure y'all follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Subscribe to our channel at A Playful Escape. Send us an email at aplayfulescape@gmail.com if you want us to talk about sisters again. If you want to give us some suggestions on what to talk about.
If you want to give us superlative ideas that we can answer.
Yes, please do. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure you share it and give us 5 stars. Give us a review. We're going to find a way to access them because we're not on Apple. Like, we don't have Apple products.
Access. Access. You said axioms or something? Access.
Okay. And
I guess I would also like to say I pronounced hedgehog or henchhog. I don't even know. Simon was correcting me the other day, so I mispronounced something in a different podcast. Sorry.
Until next time. Bye.
Bye.